All right, gents, this is about the standards that you set for yourself, okay? The world doesn't decide how to treat you. You do. Every single day, and how you carry yourself and how you show up. You're teaching everyone around you exactly what you'll accept and exactly how much you respect yourself. And there's an energy that comes off a man who's genuinely showing up for himself versus someone who's not. People feel it. They can't name it, but they're drawn to it. If you set a low standard for yourself, the world will happily meet that standard. However, if you raise your standard and watch how fast the world recalibrates itself around you. This is bigger than clothes, but how you dress is where it all starts. How do I know? Well, people will treat you by the way that you've trained them to, not by what you say, by what you tolerate from yourself. The man who's letting himself go, his body, his dress, his standards, is broadcasting that he's stopped caring, and the world reads it instantly and treats you accordingly. The man who holds a high standard for himself sends the opposite signal, okay? And people respond to it without even knowing why, because the standard you keep for yourself shows up as energy, how you talk, how you walk, how you hold yourself. The power to carry yourself into a room, the standard is set by you. Everyone else just follows your lead. So we're going to discuss 10 points, how the standard you set trains the world to treat you, why a man showing up for himself gives off an energy people can't ignore, why this runs through every part of your life, and why how you dress is the fastest, most visible place to start raising it. By the end, you'll see you've been setting the standard the whole time, and you'll know how to set a far higher standard for yourself and for everyone else around you. So number one, you train people how to treat you. This is an interesting concept, and I don't think people realize that is legitimately what happens, okay? Start with the truth this whole thing rests on. People treat you according to the standard you set for yourself, not the standard you talk about, the standard that you actually live. Visibly, every day, you're training them whether you mean to or not. Now, you've never sat anyone down and told them how to treat you. You don't need to. They read it off you instantly from how you carry yourself, how you're dressed, how you speak, whether you look like a man who's respected himself or a man who's checked out. They calibrate to whatever you're showing them and treat you accordingly. A lot of what the room is reading is energy, okay? There's a difference in the way that a man moves when he's genuinely showing up for himself. There's a difference in the way that he walks. There's a way that he holds himself, the way that he occupies space. People pick that up subconsciously before a single word, and it sets how they treat you. The standard you keep for yourself becomes the energy that you put out or give off. And the energy you give off is what the room responds to. Now, this is happening constantly. Below the surface with everyone you meet, the barista, the colleague, the stranger, your partner, and even your kids, okay? They're all responding to the standard you're broadcasting. And here's the uncomfortable part. If you don't like how the world treats you, the first place to look is the standard you've been setting for yourself, because you're the input, not the victim. So a key point, I've touched on this before, but the world reads you before you speak. And here's why it works this way. Long before you open your mouth, people have already assessed you. In seconds on site, they've made decisions about your status, your competence, and your self-respect, how seriously to take you. And the biggest input into that snap judgment is how you've chosen to show up. And when I say show up, I'm talking about physically, right? Your clothing, your grooming, your posture, your physical condition, the way that you occupy space in the room, the energy you walk in with. All of it is read and processed in the first few seconds before a single word. That first read sets the frame for everything else that follows. If you get read as a man who matters, and the conversation starts from respect. If you get read as a man who's let himself go, you spend the whole interaction climbing out of a hole you've dug before you've even said hello. Now, you can think this is shallow. You can argue that people shouldn't judge on sight. It doesn't really matter. They do, all of them, all of the time, including you. Arguing with it is like arguing with gravity. The smart move isn't to resent the snap judgment, it's to control what it says about you. And this is the part that puts power back in your hands. That first read is one of the few things about how you're perceived that you have near total control over. You can't always control the outcome of the conversation, but you can absolutely control the standard you walk in projecting. You decide what the room concludes in those first few seconds, simply by how you show up. The man who takes that seriously walks into every room with the frame already set in his favor. Why would you ever hand that away and let the room decide for you? So point number 3, low standards, and the world agrees with you. Here's what happens when a man sets a low standard for himself. The world doesn't argue. It agrees. You show up looking like you don't care, and everyone around you quietly concludes that you don't matter as much. okay? And they treat you exactly that way. They treat you accordingly. You've given them permission to do so. And this is a brutal feedback loop most men are trapped in without even seeing it. You let yourself go a little bit, so you get treated with a little bit less respect. So you feel a little bit less like you matter. So then you let yourself go a little bit more. Down and down. Each turn of the loop confirms the last. The low standard becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the man living it usually blames everything except the standard that you set. And the thing about standard is it's never contained in just one area, okay? The low standard leaks into other parts of your life. The man who stopped caring about how he looks has usually stopped caring about how he eats, how he trains, how he speaks to his wife, even how hard he pushes at work. That given up energy bleeds across his whole life, and the world reads the whole picture and adjusts down to meet him at his level. And I'm going to be blunt. If you're not happy with how much respect you're getting from your colleagues, from your woman, from the world, stop blaming the world. The world is just agreeing with the standard that you have set for yourself. It's holding a mirror up to you. You taught it to treat you this way by how you've been showing up for yourself. The good news is, and the brutal truth is simple, you set it. You can reset it today, and the world will follow your lead the moment you change it, because it always does. How do you do that? You raise the standard, and the energy does the rest. This is the good news, and it's genuinely powerful. The loop runs in both directions. The moment you raise your standard, the world starts recalibrating around you, and it happens faster than you believe. And this is the single most practical use of everything I teach you. You don't have to wait to feel like you're a higher status or a more respected man before you start being treated as one. You reverse it. You raise the external standard first. How you dress, how you carry yourself, how you show up, and the internal feeling and the external treatment both follow. Action first, feeling second, okay? Move before you're ready. That's the lever, and almost nobody pulls it because they're waiting to feel ready. Don't wait, raise the standard now and let the world catch up to it, because it will. And here's the part that I really want you to hear, because I live this. When you genuinely show up for yourself, it changes the energy you give off, and that energy is infectious. I notice it constantly in how I carry myself and the mission I'm on. When I walk past women, they notice me. When I walk into a room, people notice me. When I'm sitting at the table, women clock me as they walk past. It's blatantly obvious, okay? They see how I dress, how groomed I am, how I talk, how I walk, the power that I move with. And that power is a direct result of the standard that I keep for myself. It projects out to the rest of the world, and they pick it up. Subconsciously, they have no idea why, but whatever it is, they're drawn to it. That's what I'm trying to teach you here. And that's the engine underneath this whole thing. The standard you set becomes the energy you carry. And the energy you carry is what people respond to before you've said a word. You can't fake it, because this isn't performance. It's a byproduct of genuinely respecting yourself and showing up like it every day. Raise the standard, and the energy takes care of the rest. The world feels a man who's on a mission, and it moves towards him. So I touched on this before, but this runs through your whole life, and it's not just your wardrobe. So let's widen this out, because the standard isn't really about clothes. Clothes are just where it's most visible, okay? The standard you set for yourself runs through every single part of your life, and it's all connected. Your health and fitness. The standard you hold there decides whether you're strong, energetic, and capable, or soft and tired. Your work. The standard decides whether you coast or you dominate. Your relationships. The standards decide whether you're respected and desired by your partner or quietly taken for granted. Your environment, your finances, your discipline. All of it runs on the standard that you set for yourself. And these are not separate standards. They are one standard expressed in different areas. The man who holds a high standard in how he dresses almost always holds it in how he trains, how he works, how he shows up for the people that he loves. And the man who's dropped it in one area has usually dropped it across the board. The energy given up or leveled up doesn't stay in its lane, if that makes sense. And this is why raising your standards is so powerful, and why it's worth taking seriously, okay? It's not a wardrobe upgrade, it's a life signal. When you decide to raise the standard you set for yourself, and you actually mean it, it shows up everywhere. In your body, in your work, your relationships, your bearing, all of it. People can't always name what's changed about you, but they feel it across every interaction, because the standard is one thing and you've raised the whole thing at once. okay? That's the real prize, not better outfits, a better life, with the standards as the engine. And the energy that comes off as a man living that way is exactly what the rest of the world picks up on. Okay, so where do we begin? Health and fitness, this is the foundation. Okay, let's go specific on the two areas that matters most, because the standard as a foundation and it's physical. Your health and fitness is the bedrock that everything else is built on. It's not vanity, it's the base layer of the standard that you set. A man who trains and eats well and looks after his body is making a daily declaration that he matters, that his life is worth the effort, that he intends to be capable and strong. The standard radiates. It shows his energy, his posture, his confidence, the way that he fills a room. And critically, a strong, well-maintained body is what every piece of clothing in the world hangs on. You can't outdress a body that you've neglected. A man who's let his fitness go has lowered the standard at the most fundamental level, and it undermines everything stacked on top of it. The best wardrobe in the world can't fully compensate for a body its owner stopped respecting. The clothes and the body work together, or they work against each other. Health first, because it's the foundation that the whole standard stands on. And this directly loops back to the dressing conversation. Getting your fitness in order and getting your dress in order are two halves of the same move. The two fastest, most visible ways to raise the standard you broadcast the moment you walk out the door. They reinforce each other. A strong body makes good clothes look incredible. Good clothes make a strong body look intentional and commanding. If you do both, the energy you carry out the door is undeniable. Neglect either and you're leaving the most visible part of your standard on the table. Right, another practical tip: how you dress is the fastest way to raise your standards. So of all the areas the standards run through, how you dress is the single fastest and most visible place to start raising it. Fitness takes months to show. Your work reputation takes years to build, but how you dress, you can change tomorrow morning, and it's read by everyone immediately. That makes it the perfect entry point. It's the first domino, okay? You can't transform your body by Friday, but you can decide tonight. From tomorrow, you walk out the door dressed like a man who holds himself to a high standard, and the world starts reading the new signal that same day. It's the quickest win available, and quick wins build a momentum that carries into the harder, slower areas. But honestly, gents, there's something deeper happening here. When you raise the standard in how you dress, it changes how you feel, and that changes how you carry yourself into everything else. The man who dresses sharply, he stands taller. He moves with more intention. He speaks with more authority. The act of dressing well pulls the rest of your bearing up with it, and it changes the energy you give off. It's not just signaling to the world, it's signaling to yourself, and you respond. So this is why you start here. Not because clothes are the most important thing in life, they're not, but because dressing well is the fastest, most controllable, most immediate, visible way to raise the standard that you set. And raising it here kicks off the momentum to raise it everywhere. You dress like the man who holds a high standard, and you start to feel like him. You start to carry that energy into the room, into work, into relationships, and the whole standard climbs together. The wardrobe is the lever you can pull today that moves everything else. This is a very key and important point that I want to flag as well, is your standards set the standards of the people around you. This is a dimension that most men never consider. The standard you set doesn't change how you're treated, it changes the people around you as well, and the people that you attract into your life in the first place. Standards are contagious, right? A man who holds himself to a high standard tends to set the baseline for his entire environment, not just for himself. And that alone determines who you attract, because your standards filters your life. The kind of partner you attract, the kind of friends you keep, the kind of professional opportunities that come your way, all of it calibrates to the standard you're visibly holding. Raise it and you start attracting people and situations that operate at that level. Keep it low and you attract the opposite. Then you wonder why your circle and your prospects feel beneath you. And this is why the standard that you set is one of the highest leverage things a man can actually work on, okay? It compounds outward through everything you touch. You're not just deciding how the world treats you, you're deciding the caliber of the people and opportunities that gather around you, and the standard the people you love, rise, or fall to. If you set it high and hold to it, you lift you and your whole world up around you. Now, don't take that lightly. That's a responsibility, and it's one hell of an incentive to stop giving up and to start leveling up, okay? The energy you carry doesn't just open doors for you, it pulls the people you care about up with you. Your partner raises her game, your friends sharpen up, your kids absorb a higher standard as simply normal because it's what they grew up watching. You become the man who sets a level for everyone in your orbit, and there are a few things more worth being than that. One thing you fellas need to do if you're actually going to take this seriously, is you need to stop blaming the world and just set the standard, okay? Time for the hard truth at the center of all this. If you're not happy with how the world treats you, how much respect you get, how seriously you're taking, the caliber of people and opportunities around you, stop looking outward for the cause. Look at the standard that you've been setting for yourself in your world. Now, it's much easier to blame the world, to decide people are shallow, that the game is rigged, nobody appreciates you, you've been overlooked, etc., etc. And sometimes there's truth in some of that. But the part you control, the standard you set for yourself, is almost always the biggest lever. And it's the one men seem to avoid looking at because it means taking responsibility. So take it. The world has been agreeing with the standard you set this whole time. That's not an insult. It's the most empowering thing that you'll hear all week, because it means that the lever has been in your hands all along. You were never at the mercy of how the world treats you. You were setting it. And anything you set, you can reset. So this is the moment to stop giving up and to start leveling up, because it's the same fight as everything else worth winning. Raise the standard you hold for yourself across how you dress, your body, your work, your relationships, and refuse to drop it. Hold the line every single day. The energy will shift, the world will feel it, and it will recalibrate to meet you the same way it always has, just in the right direction this time. Fucking grab your nuts in your hand, okay, raise the bar and make the world rise to you. It's been waiting for you to lead this whole time. So leaving here, set the standard today. Start the moment you leave the house. Here's where this all lands. You've been setting the standard the entire time in how you show up, how you carry yourself, how much you visibly respect yourself, the energy you give off. The world has just been following your lead. That's the whole game, and now you know the rules of it. The move is simple. Even if it isn't easy, okay? Decide today that you're raising the standard and you're not dropping it again. And start where it's fastest and most visible. The moment you walk out the door, how you're dressed, how you carry yourself, the signal you send before you say a word. Pair it with the standard you hold for your body, your training, and your health, and you've raised the physical, visible standard about as fast as a man can. And from there it spreads. The standard you set and how you show up bleeds into your work, your relationships, your discipline, and essentially your whole life, okay? Because there was always one standard expressed in many places. Raise it at the front door and you raise it everywhere. The energy shifts and the world recalibrates to meet the new man walking out of it. So that's it, gents. Get some.